I just got my period for the first time in 6 years. What the hell? What the hell? I'm in shock. Oh my god. I don't have time to react because I literally have class starting in like 20 minutes, so I have to leave. I've been saying, like, I know it's, I just woke up, by the way, like it's the first thing in the morning. I knew it was coming back because I was getting signs, but I've been getting signs for so long, so I was like, I don't know when it's gonna be. I don't own any, like I don't own any female sanitary things. I literally have a paper towel in my undies right now. I did that without stopping training and competing at 2 nationals this year. Oh my god, what the hell? I have to like message my friends right now. I don't know what to do right now. I just don't know what to do. This could happen on a day I was looking less feral. Today's like my biggest day of the week, and I'm not doing both training sessions today. We have deep water running. Nah. What the hell? What the hell? This is not real. What the hell? I can't believe it. I'm just shook. I'm just shook. God. No one's gonna answer. It's like such bad timing.
Hi, this is Ella.
That's her voicemail. I have class so soon. This is not okay.
Mm.
I just got my fucking...
I know, I texted you.
I just got my period. What the fuck? What the fuck?
At first, but then you were like crying, so I was like, surely not. I was like, oh my god, Mike, no.
I just went to the bathroom and I felt like something come out, but I was like, it's just like, I'm just starting to pee, because I do that literally all the time. And I was also like half asleep, and I like put my pants down and I was like, holy fuck, like it literally was, oh my god. I know, I can't believe I did that with like not stopping training, like it happened.
I know.
But yeah, my last period was in high school, which is like fucked.
That's like actually crazy. But like, say fuck it, like come back.
Oh my gosh, this video has been a long time coming. Yesterday, 6th of June 2023, I got my period. My first period in 6 years. Okay. It's been freezing. I'm on my, like, I haven't been counting, but I'm gonna say like 10th cup of tea. I have had uni online today. It was horrible, stressful class, stats. And today's just been so cold. I've just been drinking cups of tea non-stop. Anyway, irrelevant. This video, it's been a long time coming. A lot of you have... I'm so shook. I'm so shook. A lot of you that have been following, like, I've been getting messages and comments, like, for years now, being like, have you got your period back? Or update us when you get your period. And I'm always like, yes, like, it's gonna happen one day. Eventually, it has happened. This is wild. This is so fucking wild. It's finally happened. My last period was in 2017, in my last year of high school. I haven't had a period since high school. I remember my last period because it was my last HSE exam, and that's the last time I had a period. This is so exciting for me for so many reasons. It's just such a mark of... I should do like a quick little intro. So basically, a lot of you have been following my journey for the last few years. I won't rehash everything, but basically I lost my period in 2017. It was at the end of 2017 though, so I had anorexia in 2018, but I started to lose too much weight towards the end of 2017, and it was really triggered by my injury, just losing my sense of self when I couldn't run and compete. And I just got so obsessed with body image, and I just spiraled into having anorexia. And then after 2018, I just had an ongoing eating disorder for a few years, which I was just really trying to recover from. And I was definitely improving over the years, but it's really been in the last year and a half now that I just like have truly recovered mentally and physically. I've made lots of different vlogs on that whole process and journey, so I'm going to put some on the screen. So you can check those out. This video, I just wanted to talk about what I did to get a period back. Okay, so I'm going to break this video into 3 parts. First, we'll talk about what I actually did to get my period back. Second, the signs and symptoms I had. And then the last bit, just like how amazing this is and why I'm so proud of myself. And anyway, whatever, let's just start. A lot of the points I'll say
will probably be pretty obvious to a lot of people. I know for me, I would watch videos that were obvious to me. Like, I know gaining weight or getting to a healthy weight is what you need to do to get a period back. But there's a dissonance between doing it and knowing that you need to do it. So sometimes watching someone who you can relate to or you trust or you look up to saying or showing that that's what they did and that's what helped them get better is the motivating factor or the encouragement you need to do it yourself. So the biggest, most important thing you have to do to get your period back is to get to a healthy weight for yourself. So for me, I had to get to a healthy weight for myself. And the reason I say that is because there's no number that you have to get to. There's no body fat percent you have to get to. It's just whatever your body is healthy at, because everybody's body is going to be healthy at a different size. Before I continue, I'm just adding a trigger warning because I'll be talking about body sizes and shapes and periods and potentially weight. So please just skip this if you feel like anything could trigger you right now. I am trying to explain what I did to get a period back, so hopefully that is a pretty positive thing for a lot of people. But gaining weight is usually the biggest fear for a lot of people, and it was something that was really terrifying for me years ago. I took years to recover. I really struggled with it, but over the last few years, especially the most recent few where I've really worked on mentally healing as well as physically, it's definitely something I'm not concerned with anymore. Now that I am a healthy weight for myself, the things that were my worst fears did not eventuate. Often I would see videos where people would say you need to go all in, you need to gain more weight than what your healthy point is or where your body wants to be at. You need to overshoot the weight that is healthy for your body to let your body trust you and to regain your period. I didn't believe that this was the case, and it wasn't because I didn't want to or was in denial or was afraid to blow out or like gain heaps of weight and then hate my body and struggle even more. It was because it didn't really logically make sense to me, because that's just another end of the extreme and more stress on the body. It made sense to me that your body will trust you if you maintain the weight that is healthy for you and show it that I'm going to stay at this size, I'm not going to starve you, I'm not going to restrict, and it worked. So for me, just maintaining the weight that is healthy for me was the most important thing to eventually get my period back. And maybe it would come back faster if you just gain extra weight really fast, but then that's just another issue then, because that could cause more mental issues, but also it then is like another fluctuation, and your body just wants to maintain homeostasis. Your body wants to be at the weight that it's healthy at. I guess like the set point theory is kind of relevant here, where most people have a weight that their body is comfortable and healthiest at, and that's very different for everyone. I remember when I was like obsessed with the whole like how to recover, trying to find something else out there, a video or someone else out there that had some secret thing that could help me that wasn't just like getting to a healthy weight. I would come across things like, you know, you have to go all in or you have to do XYZ, and really at the end of the day, your period is a sign of your health. So at the end of the day, you just have to be at what is healthy for your body. For me, I've always been a slim built person and on the leaner side, and because I've always done athletics, which we're going to talk about training and athletics as well here, I have just been built more muscular and lean, I guess. I say I guess because I mean stop saying I guess. I say I guess because it's subjective, and someone might think personally to me you're not lean, and someone might think personally to me you're extremely lean. The other thing is as well with getting to the weight that I'm healthiest at, I know it's also been a very transformative time mentally, but something that I was always afraid of was being healthy and getting a period back meant being in a body that I was uncomfortable with, or I had to have excess body fat, or I would hate my body, or I don't know how to say this without it all coming across negative, but I had a lot of negative thoughts around it, especially when I was in that really bad disordered place. Now I do love and value myself enough to not have my self-worth and value based on my appearance. However, I will add that getting to a weight that was healthy for me and getting my period back, it didn't mean that I had to gain excess body fat. It didn't mean that I had to be not lean anymore either. So I know there's a lot on, I don't know how to say this without it being negative, because I know a lot of people will see this and be like, that's so toxic, like you should say that it's fine to love your body at any size, which it is. I actually don't know how to say this without it being like triggering for some people. Basically, I got to a healthy weight for me and it was still lean, and I still got my period back. So what I'm trying to say here is I know everyone has a different body type, especially because I know a lot of athletes, girls that run and lose a period, and a lot of like people struggling with red S will be watching my videos and seeing this. Your body can still get to a healthy weight for you, get a period back, be a healthy size for you, and still be in shape for your sport. But at the end of the day, whatever your healthy weight is for you is the most important weight for your body to be at, and your body's going to look how it needs to, and that's what is most important. I want to just move through some of the other things I did to get it back. Okay, another thing I did is focus on fueling properly. I'm not just going to talk about fueling for every day, but I mean for training. So one of the things I didn't do, which I've come across a lot in the whole recovery space, is that you have to stop doing high intensity exercise and stop training. I appreciate where that comes from, and it does make sense, but I have talked about as well that one of the most important things in my life is my sport, and I didn't stop doing my sport and I still regained my periods. I competed at 2 nationals this year, and I did a whole entire athletic season, and I kept training. I got my period yesterday for the first time. The night before I had a massive training session, and the last 5 weeks of our off season has been like massive training weeks. And then prior to that, I just came off a 7-month athletic season. So I didn't have to stop my sport to regain my period. However, what I did do was really carefully plan nutrition around training and make sure that I was consistent with how much I was eating. By that I mean, like, obviously to gain weight and get to a healthy weight, I had to eat enough energy to put on weight, as in eat excess energy than what I was burning. But it was really slowly done over a long period of time. So it wasn't like I was like feeling like I was in a big surplus. It'd be really small, and then basically I was maintaining my weight for the last few months, because I got to a point where I was like, I feel like I'm a healthy size for me. Like, I just feel like I'm healthy, and there's a lot of indicators that contributed to what made me feel that way. For example, I had good energy, so I wasn't fatigued all the time, I wasn't lethargic. I felt like what I used to feel like when I was healthy. So I felt like I had good energy, my mood was really good, I was just happy and enjoying life. I wasn't focused on food. I felt very recovered from the mental side of my eating disorder, but also the physical side. I was feeling really good. I was training, I was competing, and just feeling like I had energy in life. So I also just felt healthier. Like, I just felt in my body that I didn't feel frail, I didn't feel weak, I felt strong and healthy. So I just thought, this feels like, yeah, this weight is where my body's happy at, and this is like a similar weight to before I lost a period, and I just felt like it was right. And I did have a talk to my dietitian ages ago, and I remember she said, look, you might get to the weight you used to be at, and it probably isn't going to be the weight you get your period at. And she said, try to aim for this weight, and then if you really feel comfortable there, wait for 6 months, and if you still don't get a period, then that's an indicator that your body needs to be heavier than that. It needs more weight. I remember just thinking like, no, I feel good here, so I'm just going to be patient. And I just felt like it was going to come at that weight for me, and it did, and it just took a little bit of time. So my body just needs time to heal and adapt and make the changes that it needs to make now that it's at a healthy weight. Like, I just need to maintaining a healthy weight is very important. I had been maintaining a healthy weight for a couple of months. Now it's June, so probably 6 months, but I was really careful with eating properly. So once I gained, that's where I was going with this. Once I had got to a healthy weight, I felt like pretty comfortable with just eating at maintenance. I don't strictly count calories or energy, but throughout the last year, I did measure what I was eating every now and then, especially, and it was quite helpful at the start, because that was when I wasn't as used to eating as much, and I would measure to make sure I was hitting a certain amount. I did make sure I was in a mentally healthy enough place to measure without it being disordered and triggering disordered eating tendencies or behaviors. If tracking food makes you want to restrict or have any of those tendencies that are disordered, then it's not healthy. But if you can objectively track food and say, log the calories you eat and look at it and say, that's not enough, I need to eat something more. If you're able to objectively look at it and say, for example, you get a goal from a health professional saying you need a minimum amount of this, and you look at it and you're like, I don't have enough, I need to have something else to get to this minimum amount, that is when it could be helpful to do something like that. Just to make sure you are hitting a certain amount is why I started to try and track a little bit. Then I kind of got used to amounts again and knew I was eating enough. So the last 6 months I've just been eating intuitively. There are times that I don't always eat intuitively, and I mean this in like a healthy recovery way. For example, if I'm not hungry, I will still get energy in because I know I need it. Basically what I did was focus on fueling properly around all the exercise I was doing. So one of the key things I did to allow me to keep training and competing wasn't just to make sure I was eating enough energy every day, but it was to make sure I was consistent. So by that I mean I have consistent meals throughout the day. I don't go long periods where I'm fasted. For example, everyone has an overnight fast. So when you go to sleep and then when you wake up, you haven't eaten for 8 hours or however long you've slept for. So I made sure I didn't go any longer than necessary without eating. So eating the first thing when you wake up, not waiting hours, so then that overnight fast is so prolonged, because that's when your body starts to go into that deficit and those breakdowns. So making sure that I didn't go prolonged periods without eating, and I was consistent, you know, having breakfast first thing when I wake up and then consistently eating meals throughout the day, not going long periods without eating. Like if you have a 6-hour shift at work and you don't eat in that 6-hour shift, that's a long period without eating. I made sure for the most part over the last year or two that there weren't long periods without eating. I was consistent. Another thing that was very consistent was eating around training. So making sure that I have a decent pre-training meal and having good post-workout refueling, having an up and go after training every session, and then getting home and having dinner. Just making sure that my body wasn't put into that such a stressful state that after an intense 2-hour training session, it was being pushed into a deficit. Because obviously if you go 2 hours without eating, that's one thing, but if you go 2 hours without eating when you've had a big training session and then you got to travel to training and travel back, that could be a long time where you push your body into that stressful state in terms of like energy stress. I made sure I was extremely consistent with nutrition around training, and even though so many people have said to me like you won't get a period back without not training, athletes doing high intensity training can't get a period back, I always thought disagree, because well, I used to have a period when I was still training hard and competing, and I know plenty of people who do as well. So basically, don't train underfueled, don't train fasted, and make sure you're adequately fueling, like periodizing your nutrition around training is another key tip. I honestly prefer to train full than hungry. Like I would rather feel like I'm gonna throw up each rep than feel weak and hungry. And I think that is a little bit related to the amount of times when I was really unwell mentally that I would do that. Never again. Okay, another thing I did, which this is not novel information, everyone has heard this a million times, but I listened to my body. I know I said just before that I didn't always listen to my body. For example, if I was full, I didn't necessarily not eat, but when I was hungry, I would always eat. Very, very like obvious kind of things that you would have heard in terms of recovery. If I woke up hungry at 3 a.m, then I would get up and eat something every single time that happened. I know that if my body's waking me up hungry at 3 a.m, it's because my energy exceeded my intake. So I need to rectify that by getting up and increasing the intake. I also know that if I didn't eat, I would just be tossing and turning and not have a good night's sleep. So listening to my body in terms of hunger, but not always satiety. Also in terms of like fatigue. So if I felt extremely fatigued, then I wouldn't train that day. That didn't always happen in the lead up to nationals. Anyway, let's just move on. Okay, this one's another important one, which is a little bit less of like a practical, easy to do thing, because it's more of a mental work, takes time thing, and that is learning to love my body, learning to value and love my body and enjoy life and just be happy and not focus so much on recovery and food. And honestly, it was just the mental side of recovering from my eating disorder that has helped me physically so much too, because I've just been so happy. Like, do you know what? This is a big claim, but this year I think is so far, it has been the best year of my life. I have been the happiest that I've been ever, which is so crazy. Like, it's so crazy. Like there's a lot of factors that go into that, but obviously, like, if I hadn't done the work to recover from an eating disorder physically or mentally, all of the things that are good in my life now, it wouldn't be the same, because I would still be in that place. So I do think that being happy and enjoying life has helped my body physically as well, but then I also do think it is an outcome of the physical recovery too. But yeah, learning to love my body. And I mean, obviously I talked a little bit before about that. I realized all the things I was scared about weren't going to happen. At the same time, gaining weight shouldn't make you hate your body. Like, your body, how you feel about yourself, obviously shouldn't be about how you look, but most definitely, like, your self-worth shouldn't be dependent on you being underweight or malnourished. And that was definitely the case for me at one point. I remember thinking like, I am so unwell, but I will hate my body if it's healthy. And even if it's healthy and slim and lean, like I will hate it if it's not extremely underweight and malnourished. And I know that's a problem. Like at the time I was like, this is fucked up, but I know that that's how I feel. And obviously that's like a whole mental thing to overcome that. What I'm trying to say on the other side is that you will still love your body when it's healthy and when it's not malnourished. Getting healthy again and realizing I really did just have to get to a healthy weight for me, and I could still be an athlete and have muscle mass and be lean and be in shape for my sport but still get a period, was what happened. Like I know there's a lot of things out there saying you can't get your period back unless you overshoot a healthy size for you, and I just don't think that makes sense. I really don't want this to come across in a negative way, because if someone feels like for them getting to a heavier weight than what they feel healthy at is the thing they needed to get a period back, then that is also totally fine, because at the end of the day they got a period back, their body is healthy, and then from there they can just make sure that they are doing whatever's the best for their health. Okay, another thing that I did was eat a variety of foods, eat all the foods, and not be afraid of any type of food or food group. Check out my Eating My Followers Fear Food video for my kind of take on that in more depth. But essentially, when I was really, really disordered, I had the most restricted set of foods that I would eat. Fruits and vegetables. Only foods that were considered clean were what I would allow myself to eat. Eating all foods and not being afraid of certain food groups, for example, dairy foods, processed foods, foods that are junk food or unhealthy, being able to incorporate those in my diet was important for my own mental recovery. Yeah, like learning that all foods have value. And the thing is, I still have eaten like a 90% whole food, healthy diet, and I still regained a period. Yeah, so I was able to get a period back eating majority healthy foods, but I have still included a whole wide variety of foods, and all foods have their value. I remember a lot of the time I would see things saying like you have to eat a lot more junk foods or less healthy foods, and that wasn't the case. Like, yes, it's good to incorporate them, but you don't have to suddenly change your whole diet. Eating mostly whole foods is still beneficial, but I would say that it was helpful to include a lot more different food groups that I wouldn't have before. Another example actually would be including dairy and foods that I had restricted for years. Sorry about this example, but I fucking love Up and Goes, okay? And that's a dairy food, it's got sugar in it, and it's liquid nutrition, and I would highly recommend to anyone that doesn't have a period back, have an Up and Go every single day as a snack. Just do it, and they're delicious. They have 17 grams of protein if you have the protein ones, lots of different vitamins and minerals in it. It's a dairy food, and it helped me get my period back. Sponsor me already, Up and Go. You don't have to have an Up and Go every day to get your period back. The reason I use that example is because it represents, you know, a lot of things that I wouldn't allow myself to have in the past, like dairy, processed foods, sugar, and also the fact that it's really energy dense just for a small amount of liquid. But that is an example of one of the perfect types of things that will help a period come back and help get the nutrition and energy that your body needs in. I think the last one that I have is another kind of mental one, and that is learned to be flexible and just go with the flow and happy and not so rigid and strict and intense around food and worried about it. And this obviously is kind of more like a mental recovery type of thing, because if it is an eating disorder that is stopping you from gaining weight to get a period, then this would be another barrier in the sense of your mental health. But for me, recovering mentally and becoming healthy has made me just so much more excited and happy with life, that I'm not worried about the food, I'm more worried about the fun and life. So for example, at training, if someone's like, hey, do you want to go out for dinner after? I'd be like, yes, keen, let's go. I wouldn't be like, oh, like I've already planned that this is going to be my dinner tonight, and I haven't restricted enough throughout the day to be able to go out for dinner right now. Like, do you know all those thoughts that you're probably like, that's how I would feel? Or you might not be at all, but all those thoughts that I used to, like, I can remember all the feels, so I know exactly what I would be thinking. And the reason I remember so vividly is because now, if that happens, I get excited to spend time with my friend or whatever, but I also then reflect and think, oh my gosh, like, look how much better my life is now. Like, this has happened a few times recently, and every time I'd be driving after training or whatever we're doing, like the last minute plan, going there like, woo, this is fun. And I would think like, I literally couldn't do this in the past. Like, I literally would be so afraid. I just never wanted to go out. I was so isolated, and just everything I did was so afraid of being exposed to more food, or everything was revolved around that. So those are kind of the main things that I have done to recover. Essentially, it's all about getting into a healthy weight for your body, and that does mean gaining more body fat as well. But the thing is, I will add, so amenorrhea, or lack of a period, is usually because of a mixture of things, including lack of body fat, because your body doesn't have enough body fat to produce the hormones you need and to know it's at a healthy enough point to get a period. You know, it shuts off a period when it's trying to conserve the energy that you do have available for other more important processes. So having enough energy coming in, being at a healthy enough size for you, and having enough body fat as well as weight on you is important. You just need to be at the size that's healthy for you. So for me, getting to enough body fat that was healthy for me is what allowed me to get a period back. I didn't have to gain excess body fat like I mentioned before. And the other thing is, by properly fueling and having all this energy, my training has allowed me to properly adapt and recover and gain muscle and get stronger, and that's amazing, and I'm so grateful for my body. And it also means that because I have had to gain body fat but also muscle mass, I still am lean because I've gained muscle mass as well as body fat. Getting to a healthy weight for you and having a healthy enough amount of body fat to have a period, focusing on the fuel, so consistent nutrition, adequate nutrition, and properly fueling around training, not just before and after the sessions, but you know, throughout the day leading up to it and then after it as well. Maintaining a healthy weight, so not just getting to a healthy weight but maintaining it. Listening to your body, so listening to your hunger and honoring your hunger. Learning to love and value your body and enjoying life. Having a variety of foods, eating all the foods, and learning to just be happy and relaxed and have fun with it all. I guess the key things that I did to get my period back. I honestly think I could make more videos on this. I should probably do a Q&A. I'm so gonna do a Q&A on this. Okay, the next bit. Holy fuck, I need to leave for training right now. I'm gonna give myself 10 more minutes. 5 more minutes. So the next thing I wanted to chat a little bit about were the signs that I got in the lead up to getting a period back. Now, for some people, this is going to be really TMI. Sorry, not sorry, but also if this is too TMI for you, you are definitely too immature to be watching this video now, so please, please click off this. You're talking about female hormones and periods and stuff like that is too much. Signs that I got that I was coming back were happening for a couple of months before I was coming back. That's another reason I was like, it is on her freaking way. And I was also thinking, like, I know when I get signs that it's on her way, and I know you only have one opportunity per month to get a period. So if I have signs and don't get it this month, that means I have to wait another whole month before it comes. So I know it's going to take a few months of maintenance and waiting with signs before it will actually come. Fun fact, I actually had earlier this year, the uni doctor, because I spoke to her about it, got me to get blood tests to see if I ovulated, which I hadn't, but she was like, I mean, it could have happened last week or the week before or next week, because obviously you have to go at the right time of the month. I got a blood test a few days ago at the end of last week to see if I had ovulated. And then I haven't got my test results back, but I got my fucking period, so how cool is that? Anyway, discharge. Just getting discharged. I had nothing, was completely dry for like the few years where I was like had anorexia and was like really disordered, but discharge. Extremely high libido, enough said. My hair started to get so much stronger, so like my hair's looking feral, guys. I'm sorry, like it's not had any TLC in a long time. I'm busy. And in my Polvo era, I have negative disposable income. So my hair, it would fall out like crazy when I was really underweight. Like I was a snake shedding my skin. Like Chamber of Secrets, a basilisk skin before they enter the Chamber of Secrets, how it's just like shedded. That just reminds me of my hair, but on the daily. Hair doesn't fall out like that anymore. Like, yes, I have extremely long hair, so I do have hair kind of everywhere, but it doesn't fall out in clumps like when I was really underweight. Same as nails. I just cut them last night, but my nails have just been growing very long and being extremely strong because they don't break and chip, because my proteins and body tissues aren't in a deficit, so they're not compromised and constantly breaking down. Obviously that has resulted in a lot of improvements for my training and adaptation, so just getting stronger in the gym, improving at training, and having gains from training because I'm nourishing my body, and my body again isn't having to break down constantly because it's not getting the energy in. Gaining more muscle tissue and also having less injury and less breakdown constantly. I was so injury prone before because my body was constantly like in that state of having to break down body stores. So better recovery from training and better performance. My mood is another one. Just like my mood is always like bright and bubbly, like how I would consider my personality to be. Just a good mood. I'm extremely happy and just very content in life, even though I am under a lot of stress with the master's degree that I'm studying. So I'm able to manage that better. Like, yes, I'm still anxious and a stress head with studying and whatnot and being like a perfectionist, but I'm just able to manage it better and be really aware of myself rather than like spiral into it so much. Getting a little bit bloated sometimes. I really don't bloat much, but sometimes I will notice I have a bit of fluctuations, and in my head I'm like, oh, that is because female hormones, fluctuations, that's a good sign. So I think I have had that sign. And then the last one that I wrote down was getting like swelling, like sore nipples, swelling boobs. I know I don't have much boobs, but whatever, it was a sign. The last thing I wanted to talk about was just how happy I am and proud of myself, and I'm honestly in awe of the human body. Like I had always thought I would recover and I always believed I would, but I'm still just like, wow, I can't believe it. It's been 6 years since I've had a period, and it's just amazing to me. Like yesterday morning, my reaction, like I was walking to the bathroom, even though I've been like, it's coming, I know it's going to be soon, I was still in shock when it happened. And I felt it come out. Another thing I'm surprised with, I thought my first period back would be like spotting. It is like full on period. I was walking to the bathroom, I was like so tired, and I was coughing all night because the night before we had a really cook training session in the most cold, windy night. So I was just like feeling rough. So I was like walking to the bathroom half awake. I felt something come out and I was like, I've started peeing. I drink a lot of water, and there are times often where I'll like pee a little bit on the way to the bathroom. Sorry, whatever. I just like pulled my pants down and I was like, holy shit, I just got my fucking period. Like, what the fuck? And I literally was just like, suddenly went from being half asleep to like, holy shit, holy shit. I felt like a year 8 kid getting their first period for the first time all of yesterday. Like, I was like, holy shit. Except when I was in year 8, I was like, oh my god, I hate this for me. But me yesterday was like, I was like in shock all day, and I kept remembering it. It was just a busy day. Like I was on campus for 10 hours, 11 hours. It was really busy. I'd be working and then I'd suddenly be like, I have my period. I was like, I'm gonna feel shit doing my gym session, but I was like, psych, I feel strong because I have a period. And then I didn't go to deep water running because of coughing all night, and also my period. No kidding, that's not why. There was a lot. It was a big day yesterday. And I spoke to so many of my friends from home, and also my friends here, who were just like, that's amazing, I'm so proud of you. So it was so lovely to have people around me who had known what I'd been through and knew how much it meant. But also just like, I was talking to Ella and she was like, this is like a marker of how far you've come. You've like beaten anorexia, you have recovered. And I was like, I didn't think about it like that, but it is so special to me because it's a marker of like my recovery, and like physical recovery and mental recovery. And I've wanted to be healthy physically for so long, and now I am. So I'm just it's been a long time coming. Life is so good, and this is just a cherry on top. And I'm also just thinking like, I can finally do a season of athletics and not feel like I'm compromised, and it's just gonna be amazing. I could honestly ramble and just keep chatting about this for so long, so I'm gonna just wrap this video up here. Yeah, thank you guys so much for anyone who's like been around for a long time. Yeah, it's amazing. I've been wanting to get a period back and hoping to get a period back for so many years, and I've always wanted to have a period cake and a period party when I do get one back. So I am planning that for hopefully next weekend. I'm sad I won't be able to celebrate with my friends from Sydney, but I'm very happy and excited I can celebrate with my friends here in Perth. So I'm so excited. Oh my god. I just want to celebrate this because it's important to me. The last thing I do want to say is I really hope that I have been showing in the last year that recovery is so worth it and how amazing it is. And I wanted to add, to hopefully encourage someone to recover. At the end of the day, I can't convince you to recover. You are the only one who can choose what you decide to do. But I really hope that you can recover if that is the case for anyone watching this. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and please give it a like. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, and talk soon.